and the Earth's orbit is going to get bigger. So if we're lucky, our orbit will expand out enough that it will miss the expanding sun and we won't get incinerated.
But Earth won't be completely removed from harm's way. While the sun might lose mass, it could also have a tidal interaction with our planet. And this could have sizzling consequences.
There are at least two competing effects. Although as the sun ages, it's losing mass, and that means that Earth's orbit gradually drifts away from the sun, it's also true that Earth, being pretty close to the surface of the sun, will raise a tide, a bulge of gas on the sun. And a gravitational interaction between that bulge and the Earth will actually slow down the Earth in its orbit, causing the Earth to gradually spiral in.
So maybe the loss of mass will move us out enough to be safe, but maybe the tidal forces will spiral us in enough that we'll be engulfed and the Earth will be incinerated. And if you come back in 5 or 6 billion years, you'll know which one wins out.
Earth just might get lucky. An international team of astronomers discovered a planet outside our solar system that survived the death of its home star. The exoplanet is at least 3 times as massive as Jupiter and orbits the star, dubbed 391 Pegasi, which is about the same mass as our sun.
Some exoplanets clearly do survive through the red giant stage. For example, 391 Pegasi is a star that has an exoplanet around it, a planet orbiting it, and that planet is still there. Now, it might have a rocky Earth-like core and perhaps even an iron central region, but we think it's mostly gaseous and liquid.
391 Pegasi and its gas giant planet have a similar orbital distance from each other as Earth does from our sun, which is about 90 million miles. Astronomers think the exoplanet survived because its death star lost mass, which reduced its gravitational pull on the planet just enough so that it drifted slightly outward.
The planet around 391 Pegasi is likely to be one of these planets that have sort of walked the knife edge between spiraling outwards and being dragged in by tides. You would not expect to find a lot of planets in that particular range of distances. You would expect them to either be completely swallowed or have them be much further out. And so it requires a somewhat delicate balance of the two competing forces to actually enable a planet to survive at that sort of location.
So there's one case in which the planet survived. The bad news is that in this solar system, the planet is really big, larger than Jupiter. And so it probably has a better chance of surviving than a small planet like the Earth would.
It appears that stellar winds and thermal pulsations produced by 391 Pegasi pulled atmospheric material from the outer layers of the exoplanet and hurled it into space. However, the gas giant planet survived because it could afford to lose a lot of mass.
We can speculate that it may have lost one or more Earth masses of material. And of course, if the Earth lost that much material, it wouldn't be here. Certainly, a Jupiter-sized planet, a gas giant, isn't inhabitable by people. But it's still intriguing that if the sun went to the red giant phase, it's possible that Jupiter would survive.
The continued existence of the gas giant planet orbiting 391 Pegasi doesn't provide conclusive evidence one way or the other whether Earth will survive the death of our sun. But one thing seems certain. Long before our sun becomes a red giant, our planet will no longer be hospitable for Earth-type life. Any future civilizations will need to relocate, and billions of years before the impending inferno.
About 1 billion years from now, if viewers were around, I'd recommend that you move to Mars. Mars, instead of being too cool like it is now, would probably have a somewhat more favorable temperature. If there is water underground in Mars, and we don't really know one way or the other for certain yet, maybe you could use some of that water